And you got that for those who don't know, in the Bible, fasting is a way to get very close to God. Right. You're not eating because the flesh desires things. So if, we're putting away our desires, it actually grows us closer to God. So
it's like removing the distractions.
Right. And so what you did was to fast just to make sure you're hearing this right. Because, hey, I'm at West Point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so what happens next? You move on from it? Or?
So I decide, I think this is what the Lord is calling me to. Now I have to tell my parents. And long story short, my mom, she's got like the West Point mom sticker on the back of her car. And I'm like, she's probably the most invested. I'll tell her last. So I'll get my dad first. And he was actually visiting. He was on a work trip and he was in New York. And so we met up at the guy's house the officer who, had told us about this. I introduced him and I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about leaving West Point to go pursue God's kingdom, to share the gospel, to help make disciples. Because that's the Father's heart.
And did you have any idea where you were going to go?
At this point, I thought maybe it's India.
Oh, because of the connections.
Because of the connections, right? Okay. And I'm like, so Dad, I need you to help me break the news to Mom because I think she's a little bit more, invested in me being here. And he was like, you thought wrong. He was like, yeah, you miscalculated. It's me. I'm the one who cares about you.
It's the complete opposite. Often when we think that the person we're scared of to tell something about is often the person that is like agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Right? And so you found that out.
So my dad was like,
you went to the wrong person.
You're not leaving West Point. You're not leaving West Point. Yeah. Sorry, you don't get a say in this. And I was like, okay, well, this is confusing because I know God says in his word to go and make disciples of all the nations. And that's what I'm trying to do. But I know the Bible also says to honor your mother and father. And I know God's not going to tell me to do two things that contradict each other. I know he's not going to do that. So somehow something's out of order here because two things I know God's told me to do aren't lining up. So I asked the Lord, I prayed and I was like, Father, Heavenly Father, what do I need to tell my dad? And
because you were pretty confident that
I was pretty confident
you're gonna get out of there.
Yeah.
So you're at this point fasting and doing all this stuff. You're like, what do I tell him?
Yeah.
Because you know what God says, and what God says is what God says.
What God says is what God says. And I didn't have the luxury of my parents saying, if God tells you something different than us, listen to him first, right? And so what I told my dad was, hey, I've moved out, but I'm not married. I could say that I'm still under your household, right? And so if you tell me that I can't leave West Point, I'm going to take that as you have heard more clearly from God because you're a Christian and you can hear from God. So if you tell me no, I'm going to take it as a no from the Lord. So just make sure that's
wow, you put the ball in his court.
Yeah.
Man.
Well,
that's smart.
I have to honor him.
That's smart.
Right? I have to honor him.
Yeah.
He sits up really straight and he's like, give me 1 week. Right?
Really?